Hello, everyone. Welcome to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. You're listening to the new streamingnetwork.com, home of Going Solo and Going Bold. Today, we have our wonderful show, Link to Expert Business Showcase. I have my wonderful friend here, Joanne Weiland. I am also one of your hosts. I'm Cece Shatz. I'm fondly called the doyenne of relationship building. I am the president of both Going Solo Network and NewStreamingNetwork.com. So I want to welcome you guys to the show. Let's talk to Joanne and find out a little bit about her because she has many hats that she wears. So Joanne, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I just love to connect people. I feel like that's where everything happens. If you can get connected to the right person, and some incredible magic can happen. And that's one of the reasons I love working with Cece, because I feel like we're so compatible. We have, you know, similar interests, similar goals. So I'm just excited about teaching everybody about marketing, because I think marketing really comes down to being able to connect with the right people. So I'm so glad today we picked to talk about marketing.
Yeah, I'm excited about it too. But those of you that don't know, Joanne Weiland is the Chief Connections Officer and founder of the collaborative cloud community called LinktoExpert.com, which is, of course, what our show is about. And she is the sponsor and the host of this show. So, Joanne and I are good friends, and I find that a lot when I work with people because I do resonate with them. I do have that connection with them, Joanne, and I become really good friends with them. So not only do I want them to succeed in business, but I also want to continue that friendship. So I want to do the best that I can do with that. And I think that is kind of, as we're talking about, share your expertise with the world. Marketing is the key. I think that's really part of marketing is really connecting and being friends with those that we are promoting and helping and moving forward. Don't you think?
I do, but I do think that some people go a little bit overboard when they say they have to know you, like you, and trust you. I do believe they have to trust you. I don't feel like they have to know you and know what you had for breakfast. I don't think they have to know what you had for lunch. That's just my opinion, because marketing, I think, is different than becoming somebody's friend. And I agree with you that, like you and I are friends as well as coworkers, co-hosts, a lot of things, idea planning. But I think some people go overboard thinking they have to tell their whole life story. And that's what I think we should talk about today, instead of the wanting people to like you. But the main thing is to trust you, whatever you're promoting, whether it's a service, a solution, or even a product, that
Right.
they can learn about it and trust that that's something they need. They see the value, they trust it, instead of wanting to be best friends with you. So if
Right,
that makes
right. I totally agree. Well, we made a little bit of an outline, so I'm going to share that with you guys now so that you can see it. So we need to bring that up. This is what we're going to be talking about today, and I hope that we're able to cover all of it because there's quite a lot here in which to cover. So we're going to be talking about really kind of I guess, several keys. Like one is to know your audience. The other is, let's see, your budget. I don't know if, yeah, we have it all on here. Create your marketing piece, create maybe a focus group, marketing ideas, and collaboration. So those are what we're going to cover today. So it's a lot. So if you are coming into the show a little bit late, those are the items that we're going to be covering. So you don't want to miss it. Go back and listen to the first part of it because it's information that you definitely want to cover. So let's talk a little bit about know your audience, right? So you want to start with that, Joanne?
Yes, I think that's the key, because a lot of times people think they have to be everything to everybody. It kind of goes back to what we just talked about, instead of knowing what your product, your service, again, your solution does. So, who would benefit from it? Also, who do you want to, work with? Meaning let's start with the demographics of it, like the geographical area. Some people want and need to have local clients because they actually physically come to maybe their store, their brick and mortar building, and that's fine. But that way they know that's the kind of message that they need to convey to local type of people that are there, that they can actually even invite them to come to their office or their store. Where there's others that they might, want to work with people in their state. A lot of people I find, they're really um, geared to focus on that state, or even a territory such as the Northeast states or the Southwest states. So it really varies on your product again, and your solution, your service. And then even if you want to go national or global, because it depends what, again, you're selling, to see if it is applicable to people all over the country or all over the world. So I think that's important, the geographical, but even also figure out what industry, whatever you're selling, is it specific for a specific industry that would be easier for that industry to understand why your product would be valuable to them, why your solution would be valuable to them. And then even think of age groups, ethnic groups. Like if you're selling children's books, you might think that's for children, but it might be for grandparents that would want to buy the children's book from you. So, but again, think on these different things. And then the other thing I think that so many people don't understand is you can even form a niche within a niche. Because I feel like if you can drill down to knowing more specifically who you want to communicate with, it'll be so much less expensive, number one, to market to them, but it
Mhm.
will also be much easier on you to explain in their terms or terminology of how valuable your service or solution could be to them. So I think that really covers what we're talking about with the demographics.
Yeah, I agree with that. Often we say, know your avatar, right? That's a kind of a word that we
Oh,
use
that's a good one.
in marketing, is know your avatar. And what that is not, it's, like again, your age group. Are you targeting men, women, both? Are you, I like the idea of the niches, because like for us, we started out in singles, and the singles area. Now we're doing more inspiration, because what I've found is that we need, all of us, both married and single, we need inspiration, right? And so inspiration and has been really the core of all of our shows, is really inspiring those to be able to move forward in their life in whatever difficulties they're going through. So kind of know what your niche is, know what the problem areas are that people are going through, that you are actually homing in on. So that truly is it. But you need to know your avatar, both forward and backwards. And so when you hear that phrase, that's exactly what that is. You need to know the actual person that you are marketing to, who's going to want your services and products, for sure. So let's talk a little bit about budget. A budget always scares people, right? I mean, I hate the numbers. I mean, I hate all life. I'm not a real big numbers girl, but so yeah. So we've got to know, right? We got to know like how much money we can spend and things like that. So let's hit that, Joanne.
Well, I think that is a key. Now, my father, he actually became a millionaire, but his biggest saying was you always have to spend money to make money. And a lot of people, that scares them, but they don't realize, like, if you're starting a business, just for an example, and you had saved a bunch of money and you think, oh my God, I got to save this so that I can live off of it the next year or whatever. I do understand that. But also think of this, if you're not spending any to let anybody know who you are, how are you going to attract people to sell things so you can stop living off your savings and start living off of your new sales? So there's two ways to look at it. And the person who's deciding, only they can decide what's best for them. But I do know that if you don't let anybody know who you are or what you do, how in the world are they going to find you or want to hire you or buy what you do or sell? So I do feel like that's something, again, personal, that a lot of these things, you might want to take a half a day or something, and just think on these, because I really feel like Cece and I bring up some good points that people really need to consider to be more successful. And a lot of times it is just our fear that holds us back.
Right. And we're going to talk a little bit further about collaborating with people, if I can talk a little bit, collaborating with individuals. And that can also affect your budget, right? In a very positive way, because you can do a lot of different things with individuals that can get you out there. And again, the example of our show here today, you're actually, those that come on as guests, they're able to really get themselves out, globally, and for very little funds to be able to be invested. And then you can trade and different things like that. So we'll talk about things like that as we move forward in today's show. So don't let the budget scare you, but you've got to be real, because if you have a business, you've got to spend money on it. I mean, it can't, is it a hobby or is it a business? So you've got to be really serious about it, but you want to put your dollars where it's going to maximize. And that's for sure. So let's talk about create marketing pieces, marketing campaigns, because that is also very key for marketing, and those don't realize as much how important those things are. So let's talk about that.
Well, I do agree that it's very important because when you're creating a marketing piece, you have to be able to grab the person quickly because they claim that people's attention spans are growing smaller and smaller. I do
Mhm.
agree with that, but I can also tell you that if somebody's interested in, if you catch their interest, they will keep reading, they will keep watching, they will keep listening. So it sounds like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth. I'm really not. I'm talking about you got to grab them first for to keep their interest. And
Right.
so that's why I think when you're creating these marketing pieces, that you actually want to get to their emotions, get to a lot of times I really feel like you first have to let them know that you feel their pain at the
Mhm.
client that you're trying to sell to or market to. And and then also let them know maybe a story or an example of how you've helped others overcome that same pain. So I really think a lot of times that we first have to grab them, like I say, so they know, hey, this is for me. This is what I want to learn about. This is what I want to know about. And
Mhm.
then when I say slash marketing, we say slash marketing campaigns. Then once you have that figured out, you can add more to it. But start with one piece is what I mean. And it really ties into the next one, into four. And the reason I say that about the focus groups,
Well,
because of the
let's wait on the focus group until we go on our break
but
and come back a
but I
little.
think it ties in because if you don't have the first message right, how can you create a whole campaign?
Right.
That's why I feel like they're kind of intertwined. Cece, when I first started my business, just as an example, and everybody out there that's listening, I appreciate you guys because I'm sure you have had similar situations. But sometimes I would create these really cool pieces. I thought that would be perfect. And what I would do is I'd make copies and I'd go to my focus group. At the time, it was a library group that we were, helping each other write books. But instead of me writing a book at that time, I was writing my marketing pieces. And so I would bring it, I would say to everybody, please read this and tell me what you think I'm trying to tell you. And I was always so sad, even if I tell you, because nobody knew what I meant. Because we also don't realize we use words that other people don't use. We use phrases that other people don't use. We use images that other people don't. So it's really good to have a group, not just one, but several people helping you when you're creating these so they can help you critique to see if you're on the right page. Because if you don't even have the first one ready, because really in branding, you want to keep that same look and feel. But I really think it's really huge if people that are creating, and then they might not even be going in business for the first time, but they might be not feeling like their current marketing material is up to power, up to speed, so they could start over, and that's okay. People do it all the time.
Mhm.
But then when you're starting it, just make sure you talk to different people and people that aren't going to just pat you on the back and say, "Oh, that's amazing, Cece. I love that piece." And then you say, "What does it mean?" Or sometimes you don't even ask them because your ego says, "Oh, they think it's wonderful." Well,
Mhm.
and that's good, but then can they explain to you what you're trying to tell them? So I really did think that 3 and 4 pretty much are intertwined.
Right. I totally get that. And I also think branding is very important. And, the branding is truly the essence of you. And, with saying what Joanne says, and I do agree with her. However, if you feel that like your colors need to be a certain way, or the font needs to be a certain way, or things need to be a certain way, then you need to go by that because you
Oh,
know
yes.
you're better, you know yourself better, and you know your business better than anyone. And so you want to do that. And the reason I say that is because years ago, I was doing, my colors and stuff. And I did research on the colors, what's more appealing, what's exciting, what's out there. Because I wanted it to be catchy. I wanted it to be something that you would want to grab a hold of. So I used bright colors like orange and things like that. Then orange started to becoming very popular. But before everybody was poo-pooing when I was doing it. But the reality was is I had one person that said, well, I don't think you should use these particular colors because they were the same colors as a football team that she didn't like. And it's like, and she kept on and on. And I paid this woman a lot of money to help me with my business. And all she could focus on was that the colors of the team that she didn't like. So the reality is you need to do what you feel is good. And so I will give you a tip with regards to branding today is always when you make up your logo, put your logo on everything. Put your website on everything. Make sure it's there and you're consistent with that you put it on. That way you claim whatever that piece is. So like for instance, if you're making a bit of artwork or you're doing something like that for social media, put your logo on it. That way they know, number one, it's come from you. Number two, they can't steal it from you, right? So you'll be able to do it. So mark yourself, because if you're going to market, if you're going to spend your time, don't waste it, right? So if you're going to spend your time, put your logo on everything. When I put my logo on something, everybody knows that's me. That is me, and they know it. I mean, so the more I'm out there, the more they see that logo, the more they know it's me. And that's what you want. You want to make an impact. So whatever you create regarding your marketing pieces, you want to make an impact. And so keep that in mind when you're making it. Try to stand above everyone else. So don't do what the normal people do, right? So look in your field, look in whatever it is that you're doing, research all the other people that are doing, similar things to you, and do something different, right? Try to stand out a little bit more, be cutting edge with your marketing. That brings more attention to you. So that is a really good tip. So as we move forward here, we're going to talk about probably maybe a little bit more on the focusing groups, because I think that's a really great idea. And then also just random marketing ideas for you as you can move forward. And then of course the one and only, which I think is so valuable, is that collaboration. Because without my friends, and I will say they are friends, I don't know what they have for breakfast or dinner, but I can tell you what they do for a living and how I support them. And so when I want to collaborate with someone, that's very, very important. And that's how I got here today on this very show and on this very network. So we are going to talk about that when we come back. You guys know you're listening to NewStreamingNetwork.com, home of Going Solo and Going Bold, and WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. And that is our radio station. We hope that you're enjoying that. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a lot more things. So I am really enjoying this talk today about marketing. So Joanne, let's stick around and we'll be right back. Hello, everyone. Welcome to NewStreamingNetwork.com, home of Going Solo and Going Bold. We are so happy to be here with you today on LinktoExpert Business Showcase. We're talking about share your expertise with the world. Marketing is the key. we overlook marketing a great deal. We think about, okay, what were products and services we have, and we're so busy building that and building that, but we don't think that we need to do marketing. And marketing is truly what's important to be able to get your information out there. Joanne, you really talked a lot this morning about some great tips. I mean, I was like overwhelmed with, really knowing your area, your, the all of the different things you talked about knowing your area. We talked about your budget, which is very important, and then creating marketing materials. But then you started talking about a focus group that you had actually used yourself when you first started your business. So tell us a little bit more, just briefly, about focus groups and how important they are.
Well, I think you actually brought up something right before the break that's spot on, and I really do want to correct what I meant by that. But in other words, what she said, Cece said, about you still have to feel good. Like if you hire somebody to help you, it could even be the focus group, okay? Because some people do pay for that, and you don't feel comfortable with it just because that person didn't like your orange color, for an example you used, because it wasn't the right color, but it was a color that a team that you didn't care for. So what does that have anything to do with you? So be strong and don't give in. I just meant that don't put everything out there that nobody understands. So, but I agree with you. Put your logo everywhere. Put your website. Everybody put everywhere, because you want them to be able to find you. If they're interested, they have to find you. Maybe a QR code, all different things like that. Like Cece said, and really it is you, so you have to feel it good about it. Like today, for an example, I wore pink because a lot of things you can see up in the upper right hand corner, that Cece and I use pink for a lot of our promotions for this TV radio podcast show. And but like for Link to Expert as an example, my colors are blue and green, and I often wear blue and green when I go to a meeting to talk about, to talk with others and share ideas. So I really do want to agree that with Cece, that don't just do it just because of the focus group, but I just meant the message versus the look and feel. Pick your colors. I remember with me, it took me over a day. I sat at the library to study the different meanings of colors and which ones go together, and the calming feeling for the green and the blue came through for me. But just different colors are more suitable for different people. So
Right.
thank you for letting me clarify that. And I do
Well, and
agree
there was
with
something else too. I almost forgot now what I was going to say. It's like, like for instance, I did the purple, right? The purple, it goes to the going bold, that type of thing.
yes.
And the focus group, it's like the biggest thing I found on your marketing materials, right? When you're doing the marketing materials, is that, and which is missing a lot, and a lot of times your focus group can pick this up, is you don't have a call of action.
Yes,
You're
I
not
have that
telling
at the
somebody what
bottom
to
that we
do.
didn't have
You and
on
I
the
talk
paper.
about that all the time. Is that what's the call of action? And like sometimes we see these commercials, right? And they're all fun and they're whatever, but then you're thinking, what is this? What?
Deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're not called to action to do anything about it. And now that's the best commercial, is one that says, get up and go and get this drink, or go and get this potato chips, or get whatever it is, which we end up doing. But yeah, so it's yeah, you want that call of action. So you want to make sure in all your marketing materials that you have your logo, your website, because that's where you want to lead people to. And you need to have some sort of call of action. If you can watch this today, see this today, call me today, just the simple little things like that, that's very, very important to do.
It's so true. A lot of people think that people understand what you want them to do. We had a member at LinktoExpert that literally had 70,000 people looking at her blogs, articles, videos, interviews, and different things. And she said nobody called her. I said, well, did you tell them to? She said, well, they should know I want to be their keynote speaker. I said, well, how would they know if you don't tell them? And, it's true. We have to be upfront and just say, whatever that marketing piece is, what do we want the people to do? And
Mm-hmm.
am I telling them? Because they're bombarded with 100,000 words a day. And if you're bombarded with 100,000 words a day between TV, radio, podcasts, emails, texts, how are you going to know what that person wants you to do? So, yes, that is so key. Cece and I did add it to the printout, and I have prints.
We'll bring that back up, the printout. Let's add that to the stage. And
Yes.
that way
So,
people can see it.
oh, that's a yes. And next, we were going to get into marketing ideas. There's
Yeah,
actually so
marketing
many.
ideas, because there's tons of ideas you can have for marketing. I mean, this is just a small amount of them, but you
Oh,
probably,
exactly.
yeah.
And I mean, I would love to hear if anybody wants to call in and tell us more. But I just started with the more what I would call common
Hmm.
ones on our list, with the billboards. Nowadays, too, this is actually reminds me of collaboration. Instead of having one billboard for one person that's static, which is still fine, but you can also be part of those electronic billboards that
Hmm.
you can actually have your message come up and then somebody else's and somebody else's. And those can be alongside the road. And I often see them on vehicles too, that they actually drive around and they have different electronic billboards on their truck. And I feel like, again, knowing your audience, knowing what territory you want to be. And I did want to hit on that too. Speaking of when we were talking about knowing your industry, but what's also interesting sometimes if you know your industry, but you use a different type of marketing in the industry that just say everybody is used to billboards, and
Hmm.
maybe you do something different, like you get on an interview on a TV, radio, podcast show like ours, just say, and it's totally different. But people might really appreciate that because they're so used to only seeing that type of product sold via a billboard. And so I really encourage you, even though you know your industry, you might want to change up your marketing campaign to include other things that the other people in your industry, your competitors, are not doing.
Right. And I noticed you did put in there TV, radio, podcast, commercials. So not only the commercials, but in commercials on, let's say, TV, radio, and podcasts, you can have,
Hmm.
um, well, podcast is audio. So audio, you would have to have an audio commercial. If you were on both radio, you could have a TV commercial. But we also have ways of putting, banners ads, banner ads. You could do banner ads on
Hmm.
the TV. You could do commercial on the TV. You could do those type of things. You can also be a guest on one of the shows. You can be interviewed. You can talk about your business. There's several business shows. I know LinktoExpert. There's one. I have one that's Biz Buzz Igniting Success. That's all about different businesses and things. So you could be interviewed on, different shows to talk about your business itself. Why is it different? You could do different things like that, and then it gets put out globally. And that also you can share on your YouTube channel or on your website, on different things like that. So there's a lot of different things you can do. You can buy shout outs. You can do shout outs to people, and have people do shout outs about you. You can do different things like that. So there's an array of different types of advertising you can do in that arena. So
And
yeah.
that also goes back to even the different budget you have.
Mhm.
So depending on your budget, and you can start to say with a shout out, and then go do a commercial, and then go on somebody's interview, on their show, be a guest expert, and then have your own show. I mean, there's we're just saying there's so much creativity there. You don't need to think that you're once and done and you only can do it that way. And that's what is interesting about talking to other people, kind of like we're doing today, talking amongst ourselves as well and sharing with others, that there's just so many variations of what you can do to be seen, be heard, and be known. And that's really what marketing does, helps you, be known either as the expert or about your expertise or your product that helps different people, and which type of people would be the ones that would be benefit by purchasing or working with you. So I totally agree. Just like the next one with the Google, Facebook, LinkedIn,
Have the Google, all
Instagram.
your social media. You need to have
Yes.
places in all social media. And here's the thing about social media people don't realize is that, you have Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. There's, oodles of different things that you can do. But you need to have a platform for yourself. But you know what? You have friends, right? You have colleagues. You can also get them to do something on their social media that's about you, and you'll do something to them that goes into the collaboration. So that's an idea. So you're always posting about yourself, right? Or you're posting about this. So try to get some of your friends, get a group of people and say, listen, let's share each other, stuff, and let's do that, and that works out really well. So you can collaborate some of your social media posts, right? And then you want to do things of interest, okay? You want to grab people. That's what I'm saying is like you want to grab things of interest, but as you do it, anytime you do artwork or whatever, make sure you place your website and your logo on it. If it's a post or if you're sharing a video or something, make sure you put your website on it, or how to contact you. Always put that on there, and then they can. It's very easy. And if somebody wants to contact you, you'll say, "Oh yeah, I remember they posted this, and let me go back and get that." So yeah, so we can go on forever about different things like that.
But it's so true because, like, just for example, the two we just talked about, all the different options you have with TV, radio, podcast, but then also make sure whatever you do on those, make sure you do put it on any and all your social media. And like you said, then ask others to share. And then in kind, you share theirs too. And that is so key because, and we're going to talk about that with collaboration too, because that is the key. Because a lot of times we have a hard enough time marketing and promoting ourselves. So we found a way, Cece and I, to make it easy for you to do something in an hour, like an interview, and that we distribute it to the world for you. And that way you have months worth of.
Yeah, and then you can put that on your website. You can put the interview,
But doesn't
right up
mean
on
we
your
did every.
website, which is great. And I'll just share a story with you. I had I have a very successful show, on. I won't say who they are because I'm saying this, but they're very successful. They're doing very well and everything. And I was just, I always go in and check people's websites and things like that. And I noticed they don't have their show up on their website. And they had said to me, well, we're not getting, we'd like to get more listeners. We think we should have more listeners. And so that's why I decided, well, go and check out their websites and see what's going on with them to see if there's anything I can help them with, give them any advice. And I looked and their stuff's not even up on their website. And I said, this is your main website, really showing what it is that you do for a living. You're the expert in your field in that. You're doing this show for a long time and you don't have your stuff up there. And not only do you not have your stuff up there, but you don't have any information about the station, how to contact you, through the station on the shows or nothing you really are missing a marketing opportunity there for yourself. And immediately they changed that. Immediately their numbers started rising. So yeah. So because what you want is you want to push people, right? This is why we do marketing. We're pushing them to our website. We're pushing them to our products and services. We're kind of pushing them to it. We're showing them, or we're exposing to them, or we're sharing with them all about us. And if you don't have what you do and all around, you should have a tab on your website for like maybe media or something. And honestly, if you got a really bang up, great interview, put it on your front page, right? And then say for more great, takes or whatever, about us, click here and then go into your media page or something like that. But put it right up on these interviews that we do, especially on LinktoExpert here, we do some whopping great interviews. Those should be really front and center on your website. People will, because it's all about the individual that we're interviewing. It's all about you if you are one of our guests. So yeah, that's a great, terrific.
Well, and the other part about that, putting it on your front page, because that's why on LinktoExpert, every time something new comes up, it goes immediately on our front page, the home page, as well as, of course, within the expert, the members portal of their actual website within But the reason it goes on the homepage, this is so important. This is how Google actually rates you. Because if you have new content consistently, you get a lot higher ratings. And plus, shows something new and different so people don't go to the website and say, oh, I saw this last year. Like something new and fresh for not just for your Google ratings, but also for your people that are coming to check you out. So that's a really good point, Cece. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. We're gonna buzz through the marketing ideas so we can focus more on the collaboration, because we're gonna have to wrap it up here. But conferences, sponsorships, meals, coffee, happy hours, speakers, brochures, opportunities, and banners. That is also a good marketing idea. You can do, it said a booth, have a postcards, business cards, brochures, name tags, contest game to collect and contact information. So like if you're doing, you could have a booth somewhere, do some things. They have, especially here, we're from Florida, they have all kinds of things that they do, and you can get booths. You can share booths with someone, right? So let's say you want to go into one of these things, you want to kind of cut down on costs. You could share. That's a really great thing. We'll talk about that in the collaboration, but you can also share the booth with somebody else and put out some your information, their information, and you have a good time hanging out. So that kind of works out too. But also don't forget articles, ads in magazines and newsletters. And then what is this? Trinkets with your contact information on, giveaways, things like that. Press releases. We've talked about press releases, and I think we even did a show on it. I don't think we can say enough about press releases over Business Wire. Convert your information into blogs, books, analogical books, or
anthology books.
They're like a collaborative book, right?
Right.
It's a collaborative book. Auto books. I get so tongue-tied sometimes. Fundraisers, board members for committee. There's so many different marketing ways you can market. Just be creative with it. And let's talk about collaborative. So partner with someone that has a complementary service or a product or solution. And, that is truly an important thing. So we're all about collaboration here. Joanne, your whole website, I can't say enough about LinktoExpert, because it's all about collaboration. And there, not only do you help people get to the masses, right? Get to the thousands with regards to blogs and just different information that you can put on there. And it's just it's a huge, huge thing. But also other people do. So you have other people pulling you through, right? So you have all these other experts that also, read your information, but also comment on your information and help you with information and stuff like that. So that's another great way, a marketing tool, is to go into other people's stuff on social media, on the LinktoExpert, and make a comment, right? Make a comment on something. And then other people see it and they say, oh, wow, look at her. Oh, look what she's doing. Oh, my goodness. That kind of thing. So you collaborate that way. You can barter. We do a lot of bartering here on our station. You could barter, something. You'd be on here, we'd be on yours, that kind of thing. So there's different things like that. Anything else that I'm missing?
Well, I think the key for me to share is I saw so many business owners, so many entrepreneurs, so many executives that had these great ideas, and they were doing their own marketing, but because of the fact that they were doing it themselves, they were only reaching the people they knew. So I wanted to know, how can we promote each other, like you're saying to do, but a lot of people want to, but they just don't even seem to have enough time to market themselves. So that's why with LinktoExpert, we created a way that we can actually market each other without doing anything extra. For example, Cece, when you put up a press release or a blog on your LinktoExpert website, cceshatz.linktoexpert.com, for an example, that will go out in an email to all of your people in your LinktoExpert database. But what's unique about it is 3 other members are always mentioned on each and every email blast that goes out. So if you have, just say, 1,000 people in your LinktoExpert database, there's 1,000 different chances that you get to be on that email blast, as long as you're not a direct competitor of Cece. And so you get in front of all these other people without doing anything. And the same thing with them. They get to be on yours and you get to be on theirs. And again, you don't do anything extra. You're just marketing yourself. And I'm not saying to be selfish, but it's an easy way to collaborate. And then twice a month, we send out a newsletter that includes everybody that had anything new in those last 2 weeks, that they put up a new blog, a new interview, a new article, a new press release, whatever it was, that will go out. They have a new book, like we were talking about books too, because you can sell your products on LinktoExpert. But it also features all that you uploaded in those last 2 weeks, and it goes to everybody's people. That's how we get to tens of thousands of executives, entrepreneurs, event professionals, and the media, which are the people that most people want to be in front of, because they're the people that are going to hire them to either speak on their stage or to consult with their company or coach their people. So we just do our best to make it easy for you to be able to reach so many more people with your marketing. And we're, because of the fact that the more you get it out there, because that is really the key to all of marketing. Be consistent and be frequent with your messages, because you might think that somebody remembers your blog from a year ago, but trust me, I'm sorry, but I don't think they will.
Mhm.
And you have to consistently and frequently stay in front of them. And that's why
And
a
here's
lot of
the
things.
thing, you might, okay, let's say you wrote a blog, really great blog. You wrote a blog a year ago, right? It's still
Right.
relevant today. So what you do is you do a little post, right? You do a little post regarding that blog, and you have the link to get to go and see the blog. You could do
Right.
that.
Or
And
update
never,
it.
I try not to miss your newsletter one. I mean, I try to go in and always write something to make sure that I'm captured in that newsletter. But here's the thing, most people, most play, and I'm getting bad because I need to do it myself, but we have newsletters. I have a newsletter, that goes with the link to expert, but we need to have a newsletter that goes out to most people, have that. And you can find out if they do, if they have a newsletter, find out how you can get in that newsletter. Maybe you can get in that newsletter and be able to market, and you could collaborate with them. Like, hey, I've got a newsletter. You got a newsletter. How about if we share our stuff this month? Let's do that. And then and I just talked to Kat from Infinity Medical Institute, and we were talking about like what awareness, right? Every month there's a different a group of awarenesses that are out there. It's almost like the Hallmark thing, right? So it's all these different awarenesses that you can capture, and you can actually use to help, not only help the cause of the awareness, but also promote your business. So she was great for that. So shout out to Kat for bringing that to my
Yes.
attention,
Thank you, Kat.
the awarenesses. But yeah, but if you guys haven't checked out her place, you've got to do that. So she's got one in the Villages, and then also one in Tampa. But it's the medical, what is it?
Infinite Medical Institute.
Yeah. So make sure you check that out. And it's gorgeous, gorgeous. We've been there, and it's a lot of, she's a great lady, a lot of fun, and a beautiful place. But yeah, so check out what she does, because we hope to have her on here next month on our Link to Expert showcase, to really showcase the businesses she does, and also all that she does to help the community. She's really a wonderful lady.
Yes.
So we're going to have to wrap up the show. It's gone by so fast. We
I
didn't
know.
show your pictures. I want to make sure we do that. Now, this is some of the networking that Links to Expert does. So it's right here. You want to explain this real quick?
Yes, it's just the different groups, the executives, the experts, the event professionals, the media, and we work with all of these different groups, and we connect them all by sharing your information with all of them. So it's just a quick, easy way for you to spend 5 minutes uploading something new, and we distribute it to the world for you.
So again, this is a marketing piece. Now notice on the marketing piece, she has her Link to Expert logo, and she has her call of action, and she has all of her contact information. So remember, when you're making marketing materials, that's what you need to do. And then we also have this one here, and it's
I
talking
just thought we should remember, like a lot of times when we get depressed that we didn't do it, like Cece was just saying, she didn't do a newsletter for a while. It's okay. Just be inspired, and just do it again. It's okay.
I
Don't
love
stop.
that. I love that, because a lot of things we can repurpose, we can reuse.
Yes.
It's great information we have out there. We can bring it back forward again, just to remind people, so you can recreate and repurpose and reimagine. And yeah, it's terrific. I love all that you do. You know, Joanne, you are just absolutely terrific. And it is just such a pleasure to be with you each and every week. And as I said, we are friends. I don't always know what she has for breakfast or what she's having for dinner. But if I need something, some help with something, I have a question with something, she's always right there to help me with it. So that is what we call friends. So
And we learn from each other. So
yeah,
thank you too. And thank you for having this opportunity for people like me to have this exposure. Because the other thing is not just, one way, but you have to actually be out there in different formats and different ways for people to really take you serious. Because they're going to be like, man, I see that CC everywhere. And that's what we want.
I know. I know. When people say that to me, I just laugh. I'm like, whatever. But you can reach Joanne at info@linktoexpert.com. That's info@linktoexpert.com. You can reach me at goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. Goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. And today, what a great show. This is our business showcase, Link to Expert Business Showcase. And I think we did a great job on talking about marketing. It's a big, huge subject. We can only do it in a short period of time. So, yeah. So I think we did a good job. Don't you think, Joanne?
I do. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in and listening. We appreciate all of you and we welcome your questions and suggestions.
Yes. So catch us next week. Well, not next week, but the week after. We're a bi-weekly show. So make sure you catch us on Wednesdays at 1 o'clock bi-weekly. So week after next is our next show. And I think we're gonna have some really great guests for you. I'm not gonna say who they are because I want you to make sure you tune in, but make sure that you do. We would love to be able to present you. And if you guys are interested, anyone out there wants to be a guest, we'd love to have you. All you have to do is just give us a shout out, give us an email, and let us know that you're interested, and make a note at the bottom of this video, and we'll catch up with you. So you guys, thank you so much for listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network Radio. You're listening to newsstreamingnetwork.com, home of Going Bold Media, Going Solo Media. And we want to thank you so much for joining Link to Expert Business Showcase. I am Cece Shatz. I have my good friend Joanne Weiland, and we'll catch you next time. Bye for now.